I'm back with another video, and today's video is going to just be looking at Thomas Tuchel in the Champions League final last season. I wanted to do something a little whiles back um, from him as a tactical analysis of what to look for in Chelsea, just because up until right before managers lose their job, sometimes tactically they change a little bit, they're out of form, players aren't playing that well. So I didn't want to do a very recent game, but I know just watching him a little bit over the years, I haven't watched too much of him, but I know some concepts he likes to take with him and the teams he goes through. I've heard him talk about some things. So again, today's video is going to be made using Keyframe. So I'll, of course, post a link for you guys below. They're doing this huge special on teams, like whether you're a university coach, you're a manager of a professional team, semi-professional, or a grassroots program. They have huge deals going on right now and packages you can buy for your entire coaching staff in a really affordable way. So let's get right into it, and we'll start by looking at the shape. This video is primarily going to be focusing on PSG in their first phase of build-up, and I'll break the videos up. I'll do one about build-up, and then a chance creation video in the midfield third, and then maybe attacking a low block. So, but right now, in this game, Bayern did have much better of the play in the first half, so keep that in mind. And Bayern is a much better opponent than pretty much anyone they'll face in League One. So they use their goalkeeper for build-up to create a three-man build-up. They're slightly asymmetrical, and this is to increase the distance from the player they will be played against. So the purpose of this asymmetry, and one thing I've noticed on Tuchel is he uses asymmetry a lot in many different phases, and he applies it to many different concepts. So here, just the reasoning behind the asymmetry, it was because he wants more time on the ball for the central defender who receives the ball from the goalkeeper from the goal kick. And then what this does is it gives him more time, so it gives the pressing player, who I'm highlighting now, gives him a longer distance to travel to go and press, and it increases the space for the fullback, who's slightly deeper and slightly more narrow, so we can expect further forward. Di Maria on that side would be wider, and then now we can see again the midfield shape. In this game especially, he used a lot of asymmetry in the midfield. Herrera often played in the right half space in a more advanced area with two holding midfielders behind him. And now Bayern's 4-2-3-1 with their narrow wingers. Bayern really isolated this really well, and the free players were the fullbacks, but when they got the ball, Bayern was able to press and recover really well, so they didn't allow PSG many options to progress and establish structure in the midfield third. And now, last little bit on why the PSG chose to play to the fullback here, because first starting with the asymmetry to create more time and space for the center back to play this medium range ball or chipped pass into the fullback. We can see now the asymmetry of the midfield, and in the pictures to come I'll show you more, and it'll be more drastic. But now this, the strong sided fullback to receive the ball, he is going to end up with more passing options than the weak sided fullback in this picture. And I'm just going to highlight the game applied rondo. I used the wrong color, so I'll redo that. So when the fullback receives the ball, he's slightly narrow, so he increases his passing options by gaining a diagonal passing option into the wide area just by being slightly more narrow. And so now we can look further ahead of him the potential passing options he'll gain from the asymmetry from the defenders, so the center back here, and the asymmetry of the midfielders. Also, Herrera coming wider and slightly higher than the other midfielders. So that was the first picture. And we're going to go to the next one. And then here we go again. So first, we'll look less asymmetry from the back three, including the goalkeeper and build-up. So less asymmetry from the goalkeeper and build-up. But we have the double pivot now, so an even more drastic asymmetry from his midfielders. And Herrera would be in the right half space, more in a more advanced area. And then we see now the 4-2-3-1, or 4-3-3 in this instance from Bayern pressing PSG, where their space is in the wide area now. And now we'll take a look at the next picture, but we can see Bayern's movement to press into the wide areas, force PSG into isolated areas. So we can see this just from the pressing players here. And we can see the anticipation of the movements, not going too early. And then in the midfield, they have the man orientation. And this is what PSG struggled with in this game. So PSG did really well on pressing into wide areas and isolating the possession from PSG. But now, just thinking ahead into Tuchel taking the Chelsea job, what can we take away already from how PSG have played, with keeping in mind the double pivot and the three-man build-up? So what I predict, and he could change it completely because no way of knowing until he gets there. He sees the players in training, and he has some idea of how he's going to play out. But so I think Mendy will start in goal, and it'll be the Thiago Silva again because he captained his PSG team. They have history together, and Kurt Zouma, who's been a regular starter for Chelsea. But then comes the midfielders. So I believe that Jorginho will play a lot more under Tuchel because of the fact on how Julian Weigl did in Tuchel's Borussia Dortmund team. And I predict that Jorginho will play a much greater role as a deep line playmaker coming between central defenders. And this will allow Conte to play as the other holding midfielder or as a box-to-box midfielder. So when Jorginho drops in, especially in the midfield third, we haven't seen it quite yet, but when Jorginho would drop between center backs in the midfield third, then Conte would be there to take over his holding position, and maybe then the attacking midfielder in front three is pretty much wide open. I think it would be nice to go with a more direct pressing style, but that's not really Tuchel, and high intensity transitions isn't him either. So it looks like we're going to have a positional play approach from Tuchel, but let's keep going with PSG and see what we can take away from how he played in the Champions League final and what concepts we can take from here. So now, another key thing from Tuchel is creating these rondo situations in the wide areas. So here we have it. These diamond-shaped build-ups. And again, Bayern did really well at pressing this and capturing them in the wide area, but the concept will remain the consistent, I believe. So by having two by having a double pivot in the midfield, it allows a first line passing option or support for the center back at the base of the diamond where the positioning starts. And now with the fullback, they gain some versatility and mobility in these rondos. Fullbacks in the wide area rondo in the beginning phase of the build-up have vertical mobility to try and manipulate the passing options starting with the center back, so their movement vertically will manipulate the passing options and hopefully manipulate the defense to try and exploit numerical superiority in these areas. And this is often a way Tuchel will then use to progress into the midfield, where then we'll see concepts like Salida Lavolpiana and dropping it in behind. But tomorrow I'm going to talk about Tuchel in more advanced areas and more pressing and defensive, as well as chance creation. I just wanted to make this video quick, look at his first foundation of build-up, and then we can move up the field from here. But again, I think there's a lot of concepts here to be used for Chelsea, and I'll talk more about the personnel and maybe how they'll be used tomorrow in the next video. All right, see you then. Don't forget to check out Keyframe, like, and subscribe to the video. That'd be huge. Thank you so much, guys.